So can you tell us a little bit about your character, or as much as you can about your character?
Yes. The things I can say about my character are that she is a real estate agent working in Castle Rock. And yes, my voice is super quiet, sorry. I know, there's like a whole other world. Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult town to try to sell properties in because something horrific has happened in every house. And nobody wants to live there, so she's doing her best to sort of like revitalize the town. And she's also energetically, she's very sensitive. She has a kind of a hard time being in the world.
You got a reaction to that.
So there you go. Everything's answered. Yeah.
What kind of preparation went into preparing for that role and getting kind of overwhelmed by the world, I guess?
I didn't need a ton of preparation for that. That's kind of my default feeling in the world. I feel pretty overwhelmed at most times. So that was all fine. I did do some preparation. God, I can't talk about that. I mean, honestly, most of it is just getting to be on set with these actors and, you know, getting to like be in a scene with Andre Holland, who I think is one of the world's great actors, and just, you know, a lot of it has just been happening in the moment.
So what drew you to the script?
I had to go back.
Honestly, I thought the writing was so strong and so good. It was a very mysterious story. And it was told in a really compelling way and in a way that felt very genuine and honest. And there was a lot of character insight in there into all the different characters, which is something that I also really like in Stephen King's work. You know, it's a very clear story, and it's always very spooky, but you really understand the people and how they'd react in particular situations, and there was just like a clarity to it that I really responded to.
And have you read the books in the past? And you know,
I have. I've read a lot of his writing. Yeah.
And did that sort of also convince you that you wanted to be part of, you know, this huge universe?
Yeah, it was interesting because it's like, you know, I guess they're saying from the mind of Stephen King, so you definitely feel, it was something that initially made me a little bit nervous because I was like, what does that mean? And then I really understood once I read it, Dusty and Sam are such strong writers themselves, and their voice is so strong, so I was a little worried that it would be diluted and it would just be people sort of doing a Stephen King knockoff, and Stephen King's like, go for it, you know. But it's very, very strong writers with a very clear vision, and then the ways his stories and characters and so on have been incorporated have been really interesting and very sort of tasteful, I guess I would say. So it's been good.
Now, I've seen you in a lot of different, you know, movies that have run the gamut from like, you know, period pieces to you were in the short in XX.
Oh yeah,
comedy horror, with that St. Vincent did.
Yeah.
You know, those are, you know, when you're doing feature lengths or shorter films, that's one way to approach it. What is it like to do like a miniseries like this? And can you talk a little bit about, you know, that kind of thing?
Well, the last show I did was for HBO, and each season was 8 episodes. But it was like a sort of comedy drama show, and partway through the season we had all the episodes, and there was nothing secretive about it. It's just sort of like, you know, your marriage is in trouble and here's what's happening, and there's nothing that you couldn't talk about. So this is a challenge for me because the scripts are it's so secretive. Like they're all password protected, so, you know, you start to read something and then you're like, oh, I put some rice on, and then you come back, you got to enter your password again. It's like, so there's been a lot of like the secrecy and getting information very slowly. It's a whole new experience for me. I've never been in this position. It's quite exciting, but it's also like, wow. Yeah.
So is there actually something you can tell us about the plot, or is there nothing at all you can tell us?
I don't know. if there's anything. I think whatever's in the press release is all.
That's all.
Yeah, we got our talking points, and it was like, well, what's out there, you know? Yeah, it's tricky. I'm also like pathologically honest. I have a real problem. I'm very like, if someone asks me something, I just will tell the truth. So it's dangerous. I don't know why they've put me in the finale. Yeah. Well, I actually don't know. It's good that I don't know.
I'll phrase this as a yes or no question then.
Okay.
Could you talk about your character's relationship to the town? It sounds like she might...
Yes.
Yeah.
I can talk about that. Yeah, I think she wants to see it revitalized. Like, you know, I feel like in her mind she's kind of like, this town could be like Austin or Portland or like a super cool city that people want to move to. And she just feels like people need to get behind it, and everybody's kind of like, but come on, you know. So she's really fighting the good fight and just trying to, you know, and also at the same time having to sort of fight against herself because there are things that make it difficult for her to interact. So, you know, she's just doing the best she can. She's very endearing and very strange. I really like her a lot.
Do you find yourself working with a lot of like real people, or do you see yourself working with like VFX effects at all?
I mostly have been working with real people, which I'm grateful for. I haven't. The first movie I ever did, Heavenly Creatures, there were a lot of special effects, but most of it was like people in suits. So I still got to work with real people. I don't think I'd be very good at doing like, imagine the, you know, dragon is here and you're talking to it. I'd be like, I need to like look in someone's eyes. Yeah. So thankfully it's been people. Yeah.
What is your first experience with Stephen King's work?
I'd read from the time I was very young. I read everything that he had written up until I was like 15. So like 1994, everything from when he began to then. And then I've read some like in later years. And I also did a mini-series in 2000 that he wrote, like, directly for the screen. Are you okay? I'm good. Yeah. Do you need some water? I'm good, thank you. Okay. My fiancé has that cough right now. It's bad. Yeah, so I did a mini-series that was written by him. So I have met him even. It was very exciting.
Is there something specifically about his work that appeals to you, or that you think is appealing to people? His sense of humor, the way he looks at the world, etc.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of said this, so I hate to repeat myself, but his characters are very well drawn. Like they're always super specific characters, and it can be like a genre piece, it can be a horror thing, it can be very, very scary, and you're going along with the story and feeling the impact of all the sort of scares and everything, but at the same time you're really getting to know an interesting human and discovering things about relationships. And I think he's very good at doing both things. Yeah. So worried about you. I want just cough. Yeah, I think you just got to do it. No, go for it.
Sorry, I just didn't want to mess up people's recording.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Sorry,
If this was a men's table, you'd just be like, oh. If you were a man, I'm saying. Everyone's so polite here. It's nice.
It is interesting that so many of the cast has worked with Stephen King properties before, and then this is a show about the interconnectivity. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
I don't know if it means anything in a larger sense.
I don't either. I keep wondering that. I'm like, this is interesting. Yeah. I don't know.
Everyone has talked a little bit about going on sets and going on, you know, at least some went to Maine, some got to go to the, you know, really creepy prison.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get to go visit Maine at all, or get immersed in any neat sets?
No, Molly's just in Castle Rock. Trying to sell, Massachusetts, yeah. So I've just been there. Yeah.
Oh, I've been asking, what do you think it is about maybe Maine or small towns specifically that are such a good setting for all of Stephen King's works that often are different genres and have such different characters, and yet they all come back to this sort of area.
I don't know. I mean, I'm from a pretty small town myself, and I think there's something about the connections can be drawn between people can be drawn so much more easily when it's a town where most people sort of know each other, and there's not a ton of distractions. You know, if you set a story in Los Angeles, there's a lot of other stuff going on, and it's just, you know, there's something also about being in an isolated place. Woods are scary, you know. Yeah, I think woods are scary. I don't know.
I was going to ask, do you feel more paranoid or jumpy after reading Stephen King?
I don't have any adrenal function, so I like for real. So I don't jump. I literally don't jump. My fiance's like goal in life is to get me to like be like scared, and I can. He's like hidden in closets for like 20 minutes to jump out to try to scare me, and I'm just like, oh, why would you do that? So I'm not generally jumpy, but I don't know, like the other night I drove into a parking lot and I parked my car and I had sort of like a sense of dread, and I was like, this is just from what I was dealing with at work. This is not some kind of psychic thing where I'm like, something's gonna happen. It's just like leftover like work dread. Yeah.
We were talking about being the only woman table earlier.
Yeah.
And you are the only one on the cast that's here right now. So do you feel a lot of pressure? I know that your character is a real estate agent, from what you could tell us. Did you feel pressure, you know, like in representing, you know, women just being like a powerful woman, like a real estate agent, on the show?
Yeah.
Just like trying to make a good impression on, you know, like kids that'll watch the show. Well, I mean, it is going to be scary, but
Well, there are certain things that I just won't do generally in my work. There are certain sort of traps that I think writers can fall into, and so I just won't. I won't do anything that goes into a certain number of places. So this character already ticked all the boxes that I needed to be ticked in terms of like being a fully rounded character, having her own agency, not just being defined by her relationship with a man, you know. So she's an interesting, but Sissy is such a big part of the show. Jane Levy, who's such an amazing actor, is a big part of the show. So it's not just me. There's other, yeah.
Often you do a lot of comedy. Were you able to bring any of that comedy, or is this one, is she played pretty straight?
I don't really. I've done a lot of things that are sort of both things, I guess. And I don't really do a different performance. Like, I felt like there's been comedic moments in the writing for sure. Yeah, but like human, interesting. You know, because you get to know the characters, and it's sort of one of the, you know, it's like this thing is funny because I know how this person is. You know. Sorry, that's so big. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks, guys.